quarterback isn't defining me, and that I can be much more than that.
Once again, we're here with Cal commit Jared Goff.
Jared Goff has set the mark. He needed one touchdown to become the all-time leading passer with touchdown passes here at Cal.
So after much deliberation with my family and close friends, I've decided to forego my senior year at Cal and declare for the 2016 NFL Draft.
With the first pick in the 2016 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Rams select Jared Goff, quarterback, California.
You go from Rams from then, 2018 Super Bowl, now it's 2023. That whole journey of Super Bowl not working out, things kind of going awry in LA, trading you, city you poured your heart out into, right? You put everything you wanted, and then you go to Detroit and have to basically start from a Super Bowl team to a rebuild team.
At Cal and in LA and Detroit, he's always available. He's never hurt. And by the way, you can no longer say it's McVay. He's now worked in 2 offensive systems with 2 head coaches and multiple coordinators.
A lot to look forward to this year, and a good year ahead.
This is episode 3 of season 2. We got awesome guest today, Jared Goff. Appreciate you coming on, Jared. Honestly, like we were talking about it before you came on here. You're one of our favorite dudes in the league right now, and just from a journey perspective.
We think you're one of a lot of people's favorite dude. You're like the undercover. If you asked a bunch of NFL starting quarterbacks who their favorite dudes are to hang with, like your name's coming up a lot more than people realize.
Mm-hmm. I'll take it. I'll take it. I appreciate that, guys.
No, it's awesome. And I think the coolest part is, and we talked to a ton of different guys on here, but I think the coolest part is the journey of it, right? Like we'll get into it a lot more later, but I mean, we've all had our own journeys. And I think the more you talk to guys, and you've been around tons of guys in the league, everyone's journey is unique. Everyone's different, but everyone hits adversity. And to see you balling and to see the way you played, especially at the end of the season last year, is awesome, man. We're pumped for you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah. My sons don't have jerseys, but like when they do start getting one, they're gonna have a Goff jersey for sure.
Thank you. Nothing better than seeing the little guys with your uni on around the crowd and stuff. It's good.
Yeah, and an extra like 14. What do you get? Like $14.75 royalty on it too. So it's a win-win across the board.
Dude, I got a royalty email the other day, and it was like $1.72. I'm like, did you buy half a jersey? Like what? It's probably like returned it, so I got the 172. That's it. Yeah. So yeah, let's get into it, man. We want to start off talking about your head coach, Dan Campbell. I think for you as a quarterback and for every quarterback, the head coach relationship is super important. I think I've been places where the relationship isn't great, and I've been places where the relationship is awesome, like here. Sean and Josh have an awesome relationship. You guys, first year, you go 13-3-1. Ties always suck. Last year, start off rough, 1-7, but end up 9-8. And I just remember we actually watched this clip in situations the other day where you threw the touchdown on 4th down on the last play of the game, which is like unbelievable read, unbelievable throw, horrible defense. Like, can't believe they gave it up.
Horrible.
But I remember seeing you run to Dan Campbell on the sideline immediately, and you guys had the biggest bro hug of all time. How big has Dan Campbell been for you in your career?
Yeah, to answer your question, I guess on a macro level, he's been incredible for my career, and just being able to play for a guy like him, a guy that played the game, and a guy that really knows it. It's been a lot of fun, and obviously everyone sees his energy and his quirkiness or whatever you want to call it, in the media. But he's damn smart, man. He's a lot of fun to talk ball with, and he gets it. His emotional intelligence, I think, is extremely high, which people don't quite realize is his ability to read a room and lead people in different ways. But yeah, man, it's been a lot of fun to play for, and that play in particular is one I'll remember forever. And everyone asked me, like, why'd I run over there and hug him right away? And I really don't have a great answer for you. I just that was the first thought in my mind is, because that was our first win. We were kind of grinding through this thing together. Certainly that first year, trying to get through it, trying to get our offense on the right track, trying to get our team on the right track. And for us to finish, that game that way at home to get that first win was pretty special for both of us.
And he's a former player. You mentioned it. I don't have the stats in front of me. I feel like you have more former players on your coaching staff than anybody. I'm sure you know it. Like we have 6 more than everyone else. Like, what is the situation?
We must. I don't think we've ever counted it, but we must. We've got, Mark Brunell, Deuce Staley was here last year, Antoine Randall, Hank Fraley, Steve Hyden's our new tight ends coach. Obviously Dan. That's just on offense. Aaron Glenn played for a while. Kelvin Shepard. There's probably some I'm even forgetting, but yeah, we've got a lot, man, and it's fun. We give them a hard time all the time. Where every once in a while Dan will pull up an old clip of those guys doing doing exactly what they tell us to do the wrong way. Like our O-line coach is telling him to run off the ball, and it'll show him kind of jogging off the ball and doing stuff like that. So we'll mess around with it like that. It's fun, but they've got a lot of good insight and a lot of good stuff that they went through that they can bring to us. Obviously, Brunell for me has been awesome with that as well, where he was a starter for so long and has those memories and has those tricks and different things that he did that helps me.
So Brunell in particular is who I want to talk about. So I was drafted by the Redskins, and Brunell was the starter. Brunell was the quarterback. I was the rookie with Brunell. Has that ever come up? Like,
yeah, no, he's mentioned it because we have Hendon, and we were talking about you, and Brunell mentioned that he was with you there.
So here's a good one. So I surfed my whole life, and Brunell has never surfed, but he's seen the movie Point Break. You ever seen Point Break?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So he just called me Bodie from The Jump, which is Patrick Swayze's character.
I love it.
So he just called me Bodie. I don't know that he's referred to me as Jordan or JP till like years later, right?
Yeah.
And he doesn't even dip, right? He doesn't chew, but like was one of those guys who'd like throw one in if everyone's throwing one in kind of thing.
Right.
And this is to this day. So that was my rookie year. I had been around the league because my brother, for like 4 years or 5 years, whatever it was, I'd been hanging out in NFL locker rooms, off seasons and stuff. So I'm used to the whole hazing thing. And this guy, he had the ultimate. Then I went and played alongside him, and I've never seen anybody do anything this good. Bodie, I need a dip. And I put it in. About an hour later, Bodie, I'm done with this one. Take it out.
Just a one-time thing, or he did it multiple times?
It was like a handful of times. He just got to throw one in with the boys kind of thing. But, dude, all time just – and it was like year 19.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not like he was older. It's like it was year 19.
Right. He was,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think he played 21.
Man. He's so fun to be around and keeps it light, keeps it fun. Great teacher. He's fun he's got a lot of, like I mentioned, a lot of good, like little tips and tricks that, I can use. And it's been fun.
How cool is that as a quarterback to have a quarterback coach that's played? I've played for coaches who haven't played and they don't see it the same way. And then you got guys in the room that have played a bunch with you can talk through it. But to have an actual coach when you're talking scheme, you're talking reads and everything that's played for you like 19, 20 years, that's got to be such an edge up.
Yeah, I think the best way to describe how it's good for me is like, you make decisions in games or in practice that don't really make sense to coaches sometimes, but he'll be like, oh, I get it. Just be, here's the way the pocket was, or the way, that safety moved that way. And it made you think something that was wrong, or, he gets it where, you make certain decisions that, aren't right on paper, but, when you take a step back and you've played the position as long as he has, he goes, oh, I got it. I see what you see. And it helps me, win a lot of those battles in the quarterback room sometimes.
For sure. Yeah, I got a quick Fitzy story on that. I was with Fitzy in Washington, and game one, he breaks his hip, right? And he's been trying all off season. He's been trying to get stuff put in the playbook like this. I see this. I see it this way, and they've just kind of just like pushing him aside. They're like, yeah, whatever. Mm-hmm. And so finally, he comes into the QB room that week after breaking his hip. He's just trying to help Taylor Heineke's the starter. He's trying to help Taylor get ready for the week, whatever. And he's like, we need to put this in this week against these guys, blah, blah, blah. We need to put this in. And our quarterback got the coach time. He goes, yeah, okay, next play. And he just goes to the next play. And Fitz finally goes, he slaps the table. He goes like, I'm sick and fucking tired of you guys thinking you know what it's fucking like. You don't stand back there. Like, I want it from a guy who stands behind it. And he went off. And we had a new P Squad guy in there, Kyle Shermer.
Which is like so rare for Ryan Fitzpatrick. It's like the
right, he's just chill.
Serious in his life.
Yeah. And our new P Squad guy, we walk out of the room and I'm dying laughing because I've been exiting him all. I'm like, you're not going to do it. You're not going to fucking do it, Fitz. You're not going to flip out on him. You're too much pussy. And our new P Squad guy goes, what the hell is going on in here, bro? Like, what is the deal?
Right.
But that's what you're saying.
Yeah. Like, it's hard to understand it if you haven't played it. And then even the off the field stuff. And not to speak badly on any coaches that didn't play quarterback, but there's certain things that go on in the locker room or in between practice or before practice or certain leadership moments that most guys don't quite understand or grasp unless you've done it or you've lived it.
Yeah.
And he has, so it helps.
All right, we're gonna get into a little game here. All right.
Go.
Do you know who Bob Green is, the coach?
No, should I?
Kyle, how would you describe Bob Green?
No, he's more. It's like small time college coach, but just has crazy quotes. Like he's always in the
He kind
media
of has gone
with crazy
viral
quotes.
for some.
Oh
of
yeah, I
these.
think I know that
A lot of
guy.
them.
Yeah, he says those crazy stuff, right? Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna play a game here. Dan Campbell or Bob Green.
Okay.
So I'm gonna read the quote.
Right, I know who
Okay.
that is. Yep.
Yep, and you're gonna tell me which guy you think it is, and we'll score it up, and we'll send you a prize. All right, we're starving, so the hyenas better get out of the way.
I think that's Dan.
Correct. You're 1 for 1. That's a hot start right there.
Good.
That is Dan Campbell. All right, next one. We're like the kid that plays second French horn in the school band. We got to play better.
That's Bob Green. That ain't Dan.
2 for 2. Jake, producer, we got to make harder questions. All right. There's a double-edged sword. You know, it's kind of like watching your mother-in-law go off on a cliff in a Cadillac. You got mixed feelings.
Yeah, that's not Dan either. That's Bob. Coach Green.
3 for 3. Doesn't matter if you have 1 ass cheek and 3 toes. I will beat your ass.
That is Dan.
That one's definitely Dan
All
Campbell.
time.
I've never heard that quote. I would have guessed Dan Campbell too. Probably a lot of beating their ass, like,
Yep.
whoop up on it. Probably a lot of that.
The hyenas is a constant theme. So yeah.
We're kind of like a woodpecker in a petrified forest. We just keep busy.
Ooh. I'm going to guess the other guy because I don't think I've heard him say that, but that could be Dan.
Well, which one is it?
I'm going to say Coach Green.
Okay. Yeah, that's Coach Green. I'm not going to wipe your butt. You're going to wipe your own butt. You handle it, and I'll treat you like men until you prove otherwise.
That's Dan.
Do you remember that quote?
Oh, yeah.
Like, what was that after?
I think he was just like
what happened that led to that quote?
I don't think anything happened. I think he was just kind of setting the tone for how he was going to treat us. I would imagine that was during training camp or something last year. No one like messed anything up or did something where they needed their butt wiped. It's just he was saying, "I'm not going to hold your hand." Basically, you guys are grown men. That's how it's great. That's how he treats us. It's awesome.
That's cool. The last one, this is the one that I knew. So this is obviously, but Dan Campbell. So I'm going to give you the answer because it's just so good. I want to read it again anyways. And when you knock us down, we're going to get up, and on the way up, we're going to bite your kneecap off. I mean, this dude is like, is any of this stuff thought about in advance? I mean,
no.
Kyle tries to be funny a lot, so he thinks about what he's going to say before he says it.
He
kind of sometimes puts it in notes on his phone.
Yeah.
I'm more just like naturally hysterical.
Right.
Just kidding. Like, is there some sort of combination? Like, you guys ever grill him on that? Like, dude, where'd you get that one? The one you had this afternoon at practice? Like, did you think about that ahead of time? Is that a regular?
He doesn't think about it ahead of time. I can guarantee that. It's just kind of comes off the cuff. He's got like a very dry, sarcastic sense of humor. And sometimes a lot of times they'll say stuff where you're like, is he being serious right now or is he fucking around? And it's, we've all been around like coaches like that where you're like, is this fun time or is he mad?
Yeah.
And so that happens quite a bit with him. And you always lean towards like, I think he's mad until he starts laughing.
It's a safer route.
It's a safer route. He'll do stuff in team meetings all the time where he'll play a movie clip or something and you think it's going to be like some motivational something and it ends with like some, funny fart joke. And you're like, oh, it was just for fun. Okay, I got it. But yeah, he's good, man. He keeps it light. He keeps it fun. And he's a hell of a lot of fun to play for.
Well, you got a good rapport with them because that was 7 for 7 right there. And that's, we usually do tough questions on here and usually 100% is not the batting average. So
just looking at him compared to Sean McVay, I think you probably couldn't play for 2 more different coaches. How would you compare your experience with Sean and your experience with Dan so far?
Different. Sean being the play caller changes a lot of things too. Just the relationship with that, where you're constantly talking scheme and stuff, and making sure you're on the same page. Where Dan, he was the play caller, I guess, for a little while there that first year, but he isn't. Him and I don't need to have those discussions as much. But yeah, different. I would say Dan's more old school. They're both great. I enjoyed my time with both of them, but yeah, no doubt, definitely different.
Yeah, and Sean, I mean, talk about it a little bit. And I know in the beginning it was different than it was in the middle than it was at the end, right? You were evolving as a player. But I remember a story. I was talking to Frosty Rucker. Remember that name?
Oh, yeah.
D-tackle?
Oh, yeah.
So Frosty and I played Pop Warner against each other. And then he played at USC with my brother. And then he played with the Bengals with both my brother and I. And then he played with the Cardinals with my brother. So it's just like, I can't get away from Frosty, right? But I remember Frosty telling me
I played against him at some point, maybe in 16 or 17 with the Cardinals.
No, you definitely did because he was telling me a story and I was like,
Got it.
He was like, dude, and you might have played against him at SC. I don't know, but you were younger, but he was like, dude, it's so crazy. We played at LA, and because it was something where Frosty was standing up, like you were dialing it up at the line of scrimmage, and Frosty's standing up. And I just made a comment to him after like the game the next day or something like that. I'm like, hey, what were you doing? He's like, bro, I can hear Sean McVay telling him what to do in the headset.
Yeah.
And I'm listening. You know how like you get a double mug and you got both the linebackers and they're waiting for the point, and then they like, you know what I mean? Like there's that, we're only a yard away, right? But I mean, how has that transition been from playing for Sonny Dykes in college, where, you know, grip it, rip it, spread it, here we go, signal and go, to like, I would joke around that McVay was on the sideline with a Madden controller. You know what I mean? Go like this.
I guess I can clear it up a little bit. He was never like telling me what to do. He was telling me what play to check to, especially early in that offense when we were, you know, that first year. Certainly, we did a lot of that. The on the ball, you know, hut, no snap, no play. Here, get to this. You know, he'd have his whole menu on the sidelines. And I think as I've gotten older, and certainly in our offense now with the Lions, I have a lot of those responsibilities, which is fun. And it's something that early in my career I don't think I could have done, and he was great at it, and then we had a good thing going there. But now we do a lot of that, and it's on my shoulders, and it's fun. It's fun to play that game with the defense, to be up there and make those decisions, and ultimately have to make it work on your own.
Well, how much of it now, I see it with Josh a lot right now too, is just getting up to the ball, and you got a play going, right? Like Sean, we call it our NASCAR series, right? It's just our one-word plays. We're on the ball. Everyone knows what they're doing. How much of that now is when you're on the ball, right, and you don't got good looks, but you don't have a killer and alert on the play, and you can just go through your menu of being in that offense for 3 years and being a vet and just being like, oh, I know versus this too high look, like we can get to this right now. Let's go.
Right. Yeah. No, I've done that a handful of times. Typically, when the game comes around, we've got our menu and we know what we want to get to. But there's certain times where you know it's more so like the front presents a look where like our run is so good. And I know that we want to get to that run versus this front. We just didn't call the play on that play. And that's happened. You know, the past stuff, typically we've got stuff built in for that. And there will be times, where I can check to something easy just to get a completion. And certainly we've done that. I think it's grown this offseason a lot through OTAs and training camp. Really my second year in this offense because of Anthony Lynn was our coordinator the first year. So my second year in this offense, kind of taking that next step and being able to do exactly what you're saying, check to stuff that we know is there, that we've talked about for, you know, over training camp, that, hey, we get this quarters look, take the quick out type of stuff. That'll come up, but I can't say I've done much of that last year. It'll happen more probably this year.
Let's shift gears here. You're one of the few guys that's been on Hard Knocks twice, right?
3 times.
3 times?
My rookie year, the COVID year in LA, and then last year.
Oh, I forgot about the COVID year. That's right. I forgot about that. Well, the point of the question was the first and the third one. You know, you guys, Rams used to have training camp in Irvine. I'd be out cruising around. You guys are right down the street from me, and I'd come out and say what's up and talk to Les and Sean and those guys. And I just remember your rookie year specifically. You know, they trade 3 first-round picks, and then they move up and they take Jared Goff #1 and all that stuff. And you got Chris Winkie, who's been doing like all the draft prep stuff at that time, and he was like the guy. And you watch practice looks like practice, right? But I just remember like no rookie, and you know what I do for a living. I'm around rookies getting drafted high every single year. This is my 16th year, right? And so I intimately watch how things are handled, and you know what I mean, and behind the scene, all that. And I still to this day don't know any rookie who's been put in a worse spot. Winky just smashing you in the quarterback room, them showing you make mistakes. That, by the way, rookies make mistakes, by the way. Like, I forgot the digs over there. Yeah, I mic'd the will. Right. Just like put you on a platter to look terrible when you were doing what every single rookie does when they're learning a complicated NFL offense. So then like the transition going into last year, I mean, what was that like that rookie year? But and by the way, the St. Louis Rams moved to Los Angeles. So there's like, oh, poof, here's our new team. We're going to try and get new fans. Like, talk me through if you can go back a little bit of like, dude, that was a hard rookie year.
Yeah, it was hard, but there was some scars certainly when we got Hard Knocks again. I'm like, you know, I kind of got treated a certain way, it felt like, and but yeah, I think I was probably naive to it at the time. When I was a rookie at, some of the stuff like, hey man, don't show me saying that, or don't show me, dropping a snap or something that kind of every rookie does at some point, like to your mentioning. But, I think ultimately it helped me grow and helped me, learn more about this league and how it kind of works and what they're looking for and what they're trying to expose if they can. So I learned through that. And then last year I was in a much better position to be able to kind of control it a little bit. And one of the things we did was I've done it 3 times now. So I've known the producers, I've known this crew pretty well. And I said, hey, I will do any mic'd up you want. I'll do any interview you want. Can I just have the quarterback room with no cameras? So if you watched it last year, there was no clips in the quarterback room. And it's a safe haven. I can go in there. I can say what I want. I don't have to worry about the camera turning on and turning towards you. And then you're like, oh shit, okay, this is getting recorded. So we were able to get that done where I had a little safe haven in the quarterback room. And in that way, it didn't feel the same at all. It felt much more normal.
Yeah, I was on Hard Knocks in 2009 or 2010 or something like that, Bengals, and we had a fullback who name's Jeremy Johnson, and he was like he really struggled to keep his weight down, but he had been to like 2 Pro Bowls, and he was one of those guys like he should have been 255 and he was show up at 280, and so but what the producers didn't know is that like he was struggling with some eating stuff. You know what I mean? Like there's an emotional root of all that. And so he was struggling with that and he was seeking help and he was getting better, but he did show up 25 pounds overweight and they crushed him.
Yeah.
And they made him look like a fat piece of shit slob who didn't take football serious. And that's not what the case was. We all love Jeremy. And I roll in one day. I forgot my playbook. We're in Georgetown, some random college in the middle of nowhere, trying to prep training camp. I forget my playbook, run over to the locker room that's like way over there, grab my playbook, and I roll in and he's like fighting the producer. And it was not going to be an even fight. Right. And full on like calling trainers to get him off of him. And it was like, it was like 3 episodes in, and you know from being on it, you don't watch the episode before it's live. You watch it live.
No, yeah,
like in your dorm.
Or really nowadays you see clips and you're like, shit, like what else did they have with me doing that? And you see the Instagram clip and you're like, well, now I have to watch it to see what else I said that was in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you watch all of them?
Last year I probably watched like half of them. I don't know. I mean, I can't quite remember. I don't like go back and watch them if I happen to be on TV or watching TV when it comes on, sure. But they were really, really good to me last year. It was like night and day. And I think they kind of probably recognized some of the stuff that had happened in the past. And so they would show me stuff beforehand and be like, what do you think about this? And I know Dan obviously had a lot of control over it and the rest of our staff, but it was much more of a let's show how great our city is and show how great our team is and kind of put that on display, which was fun as opposed to the gotcha of the LA season maybe.
Yeah, and as a 39-year-old father of 3, I can tell you it'll be a really cool yearbook down the road to show your kids.
Yeah.
Right. So like actually 2 weeks ago, I got back from like Portugal on this long 3-week trip all over with my family. And we went, and my old teammate, Brian Leonard, who I played with in Cincinnati, he's one of my best friends. He's got 3 kids. He had it on it was like on his Netflix or whatever. And I was like, dude, I haven't seen this since it was like live. And so we watched our season back. This is like last week. Yeah. With our boys, our 7-year-old sons.
That's cool.
And so it was like, it'll be a cool yearbook, you know what I mean, in 15 years kind of thing. So,
anyway. No, speaking of that, I was just a week ago scrolling YouTube and I had forgot I did Hey Rookie, that little pre-draft thing that they do.
Yeah.
And that was on YouTube. It just happened to be on there. And I'm sitting here with my fiance. She's never seen it. Obviously, she didn't even know me when I was that age. And click play, and we kind of watched 21-year-old version of me. And like you said, it was a cool little trip down memory lane where you're like, man, I forgot about that. And that wasn't even that long ago.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's cool to hear you talk about just like the Rams days, because that's what year was that? That was 2018. You guys went to the Super Bowl. That was my first year in the NFL. So I obviously watched you at Cal. I watched you, go in, transition, be the number 1 pick and come. But you go from Rams from then, 2018 Super Bowl, now it's 2023. That whole journey of Super Bowl not working out, things kind of going awry in LA, trading you for Matt Stafford, which never really happens, right? Quarterback for quarterbacks, usually quarterback for picks. And in the city you poured your heart out into, right? You put everything you wanted, and then you go to Detroit and have to basically start from a Super Bowl team to a rebuild team. And your journey, like we talked about at the beginning, from that to 2023 to see you coming out on top. I mean, we'll look at your stats right now. I never tweet. I actually tweeted about something about you last year. Your stats came out at the end of the year where you were the last 9 games, you were 209 for 306, 2,400 yards, 15 touchdowns, no picks. And I was just like, I guess I hadn't been watching you guys that much, but I saw that stat and I was like, what the hell? No picks, 15 touchdowns after starting 1-7, right? You were 5th in touchdowns, 5th in QBR, 6th in yards, 7th in passer rating. And it almost felt like last year during the season, there was a point, right? You're 1-7, then you finished 7-2. Did something happen? Was there a point? Did something change mindset wise, or did you just win a game and then you kind of just caught fire?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I get that all the time. I wish there was like one thing. We had a team meeting or someone said something and it just flipped. It really wasn't. It was, I think
it was one of those Dan Campbell quotes.
Right. Yeah. No, I wish it was that easy. There's no magic pill. It was just a culmination of kind of learning how to win. I think we were not playing bad football. I think if, maybe fans didn't realize it, but people who are really watching the games, we were in every game. We were playing good ball. We were certainly scoring a bunch on offense. And so we were there. It was just, in that fourth quarter with 5 minutes left, we just wouldn't make that play. We wouldn't make that throw, that catch, that play on defense, whatever it may be. And I think once we did it once, it was like a light bulb went off, certainly for a lot of the younger guys of like, oh, okay, like this is when those plays happen. This is when I have to really dial it in that much more and be ready to make that, maybe off schedule play. And so that happened, in the Green Bay game. We won at home, I think like 15-9. We were horrible on offense that day, but our defense won the game for us. And from then on, we just kept stringing them together, and it seemed like at that point, then you get hot and you're like, man, we can't miss. And that's when it's really fun.
You talk about those games. You go the Bills game last year, right? You had it tied at the end of the game.
We won every game besides the Bills and Carolina, and the Bills. Okay,
so that was at the end, right? Yeah, exactly. Right. And then, but early in the year, right? Yeah, early in the year, you got the Eagles close, right?
Close.
There's a ton of other games that you played close, right? And
lost
then
to Seattle by 3, lost to Minnesota on a field goal. There's a
ton of close games. Yeah, and I think we were talking about this before too. I think teams either you don't really like blow a bunch of teams out in the league, right? You go into every game, no matter who you are, you're gonna like. It's like if it's the Chiefs playing, the 1-7 Lions, right? The Chiefs are sitting there saying, like every team's showing up and every team has a chance to win any week. And so I really, truly believe that teams either find ways to win the game or you find ways to lose the game. And I think that's interesting. You said that about the young guys too. It's like, you almost have to realize like, oh, this is possible, right? Like, we're 1-7 right now, but like, oh, we can go and actually win this game. We can go make these plays to do it.
Correct. Yeah. And it was like it had to happen for guys, to really feel it. And again, like a game where we didn't play well on offense and we had some guys on defense make some huge plays. Our guy Kirby Joseph had 3 interceptions as a rookie, and it was like, all this stuff is possible. So yeah, it was fun.
So I've always thought, I've known you since you were junior in high school or something like that, and you've been consistent, which I think you got to be. There's not many franchise legit dudes who are like change year to year. You know what I mean? You've been consistent since day one and never really cared about the media. Not a social media guy. If you hear somebody says something bad about you, I bet it doesn't bother you the way that it would somebody who's less emotionally stable.
Sure.
But let's say I'm an alien and I've never really watched football and I don't do that stuff. And somebody said, like, this guy's playing some of the highest level quarterback right now in the NFL. He's a franchise guy. He's got hundreds of thousands of dollars in his bank account. Like, how does that motivate you? You know what I mean? When not getting the respect, or does hearing bad things, does it do anything? Do you literally not care? Is it a hybrid? I'm always curious how guys deal with the inevitability of hate. I don't care who. There's people who think Patrick Mahomes are going to be bad this year. Like, it doesn't matter. It's inevitable.
Right. It's definitely a hybrid. I think, it's impossible to say you don't hear it. It's just impossible. Either your friends send it to you, look how stupid this guy is, and you see it on your phone, or you're on Twitter and Instagram, you see all of it. But I think if you're not internally motivated to a certain degree, certainly at our position, you have no shot. You can't ride that wave of you're so great this day, you're so bad the next day, and how it goes in our league. So you have to have that internal motivation of something that drives you and something that makes you want to be great every day and pushes you every day. Now, sure, there's some things that you hear said that can tick that up just even more. But you really try to pay attention to that equally as you do the good stuff, which is as least amount as possible to keep it pretty neutral. But yeah, sure, I hear things that can turn me on a little bit and get me fired up to go get it, and it happens throughout the year.
All right, we're gonna shift gears to another game here. Okay, none of us like getting sacked, right? It's not super fun. When you're young, you got to figure out if you like it or not.
I took a lot of sacks. I took a lot of sacks one year. That shit was terrible.
Take a lot of sacks. Yeah. Well, your top speed is 16.5. You're gonna take a lot of sacks.
I hit 19 once. It's cool.
Cool story. So this game is going to be: would you rather blank or take the sack?
Ooh,
cool. Would you rather do this or take the sack? And let's just say it's your old teammate Aaron Donald. It's not a fun sack. It's not one of those like wrap you up, throw you down, you pop up, and then watch the dick get caught.
It's like a 2016 sack when they could still hit you. Before Kyle got into the league.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Yeah, it's one of those like
grandfather.
I remember my brother telling me at the end of his career, he's like, when you turn over 30, there's certain hits you take where when you're getting up off the ground, something subconsciously is telling you this is the 3 weeker.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like this is 3 weeks of rehab right here. I already know, right? All right, so one of those types of sacks, right? A 3 weeker.
Got it.
All right. Would you rather be stuck in a room until you can beat Frank Ragnow in a shrimp cocktail eating contest, or take the sack?
Sack. I can't win that. I can't.
So
win
it's unwinnable.
Okay.
You can get up off the mat, but you can't eat more than him.
No shot. I can eat more than him. I would throw up before I ate more shrimp cocktails than him.
That's disgusting.
Give us some context. I didn't write this question.
Yeah, so I said this actually a few days ago in an interview, but I took them to St. Elmo's in Indianapolis last year when we practiced against the Colts, and he just killed the shrimp cocktails. I mean, it was ungodly. I'm talking like 30 to 40.
What's he do at Indy when you go to St. Elmo's?
What do you mean?
You've been to St. Elmo's in Indy?
Yeah, we were. That's where we had dinner.
That's where it was.
We had a joint practice with the Colts, so we were like on one of the days we just had dinner there, and he was killing them. And then just last week we went to a steakhouse here in Detroit for a little O-line dinner, and again it was just like more shrimp cocktail. The guy comes back in, I'll take another order of shrimp cocktail, and it's just nonstop. And again he can put down. I don't know if he has on an empty stomach. I legit think he could eat 40 to 50 of those shrimp, and like kind of no problem. Like. He's not slowing down. He ate, I don't know, maybe 20 of them and then ate a full meal, appetizers, everything.
All right. Would you rather have analysts and announcers, people calling games, awkwardly talk about your fiance's modeling career 3 times more than they already do, or take the sack?
3 times more? I'll take a sack.
Yeah. Take a sack?
Yeah, I'll take a sack. Yeah.
How old does
she
that
doesn't
get?
need that either. It's probably even harder for her.
Especially away games, right? When she's actually watching.
Right, exactly. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Would you rather?
Taking 2 sacks already. I don't want to take many more.
All right. Well, then let's see if you can stay on your feet. Would you rather lose Ben Johnson and have to call your own plays for 2 quarters, a regular season game, or take the sack?
Oh, I'll call my own plays.
That's what I figured. Yeah.
Yeah. Ben can trust me. I got it. I know what he likes. I can make it work.
All right. Would you rather have 100 more people come up to you before the end of the year and tell you where the sun rises, or take the sack?
They can tell me that. I know they can tell me. I got it now. But I think
you just got your cheasy like, oh yeah.
No, I'm like, all right, got it. Yeah, you got it.
One of these guys right here, left,
exactly.
Right, yeah.
Exactly. No, I that was speaking of Hard Knocks, that was the clip. But I got it now. It's ingrained in my brain forever. I will never mess that up again.
It's west, right? It's in the west.
Rise in the east, sets in the west. Yeah.
There we go.
Last one. Would you rather have
Cody? I don't want to miss it again.
Just remove north and south from.
Yeah, exactly.
You just cut out 50% of the wrong answer. Now it's truly 50-50.
Yeah.
Would you rather have Cody Ko lie to you one more time, or take the sack? And give us some context on this.
Oh God, that's what. I'll take a sack because it's getting to be a lot at this point. So gosh, how long do we have? This is a long story. I saw him in Mexico. And I'm a fan of his just from like the internet stuff. Like I hadn't met him before, but I had just done a charity softball game for California Strong, that charity that I'm a part of, with some of those guys. And for whatever warped reason in my brain, I thought he was there when I saw him in Mexico. And so I was like, hey dude, good to see you. The charity softball game was fun. Like, good to see you. And it was quick. It was like high and by. And he kind of just went with it. He was like, yeah, great to see you there. And I didn't think anything of it. And fast forward a week or two, and he does a podcast episode, and he's telling the story, and he's like, I just straight up lied to him. I wasn't there, and I felt uncomfortable, so I just straight up lied. And so that kind of made its way back to me, and I thought it was hilarious. He reaches out, he's like, dude, you got to come on the podcast and talk about the whole situation. So I come on his podcast, and we do a 15-minute talk about it and kind of joke and laugh about it, and we finished it with there's a company called Friday Beers that I'm invested in. And they had told me that he was invested in it, and I guess he wasn't, but he was going to, or it was in between, whatever. And so I had mentioned to him, I'm like, actually, before I leave, I guess we're invested in the same thing together. It's Friday Beers, whatnot. And he's like, yeah, Friday Beers, awesome. I'm like, all right, see ya. And I leave, and then they keep rolling, and he's like, I'm not invested in Friday Beers.
I've seen that clip. It's so good.
And they just kind of fall on the ground laughing about it. They're like, dude, why do you keep doing that? Like. And I kind of feel people thought I was doing it on purpose the second time, like I was just trying to set them up. And no, I just it was just a funny moment. And I'm still a fan of his, but at some point we're gonna have to go and do a podcast with zero lies and have a good interaction.
Going back to some more quotes now. So we had Caleb Williams on week 1. His quote that he had was that he said he plays football to become immortal. Which is wild.
Now, by the way, we didn't say give us a quote. These are just quotes that came out.
He just decided to. He said he plays football to be immortal, and I was like, "Whoa, that's different. I've never heard that before." Josh Allen, we just posted his. We're recording this today. We posted his today. He said that he is the best athlete on the planet, all around.
Josh did?
Yeah.
Well, he said it because he was challenging Barkley's wife to pickleball, and she said she'd beat him, and he just in passing said, I'm the best athlete on the planet. Kyle happened to be there here, so we were like, well, hold up, let's unearth that.
Yeah, well, then he backed it up the next day at practice too. He comes to practice, and I was like, I don't know if you remember saying that. You were a little inebriated, but you said you were the best athlete on the planet. And he goes, yeah, I think so. Like all around.
He stands by it.
He fully stands by it, and he stand by it on the podcast yesterday.
Good for him.
So we were saying, is there anything that you'd like to say to that nature?
Yeah. Would you like to share anything with the audience?
Yeah, I guess this is. I think I'm one of the best ping pong players in the state of Michigan.
Ooh.
Not in the country, just Michigan.
I don't know how I'd be able to prove that, and I'm not like in my stuff right. I haven't been playing in a while, but when I'm playing and I'm like practicing and doing a lot of it, not much during the season, but in OTAs or whatever, you're in the locker room playing. I don't think there's many guys who can beat me. I'm saying not football players, like people in the state of Michigan.
Ooh. Do you have your phone right next to you?
Yeah.
How do you hold your paddle?
I put my finger on the backhand.
Okay. And you're straight here with it. Ton of spin,
forward, backwards. Yeah. If I'm playing a lot, I guess I can boast about that. If I'm playing a lot, I don't feel like there's many people who can beat me.
Are you soft paddle? You got to be soft paddle, right?
Oh yeah. I have
you have your own paddle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a
multiple.
No, I say that now, and I went to the Super Bowl and did the ping pong thing against those guys. Some of the other NFL players were there, and Trent Taylor for the Bengals is the best ping pong player I've ever seen in my life.
Wow.
And he's lefty, and he's nasty.
Oh, so that's just weird coming at you too.
Nasty. But yeah, I didn't come in second place there, so I guess some of those guys can beat me. But state of Michigan, I got
respect. Do you have a weakness? Backhand, forehand? No weakness?
No. Not when I'm playing a lot. Like right now I can lose to some people, but when I'm playing a lot, I'm pretty bulletproof.
I like that. Some of the most unbelievable ping pong I've ever seen is Devin Hester and Brandon Marshall when I was in Chicago. There'd be 30 people, like kind of you're standing over the crowd. Like it was they didn't play without 30 people around that table watching, wanting to see it play. And obviously like shirts off, tons of shit talking.
Yeah.
But Devin Hester and Brandon Marshall is some of the most talented, impressive ping pong I've ever seen. This was whatever years ago, but I respect it, and that's a good game to get humbled on too.
Well, there's a player in the league right now. I won't name names because it's not a good story about him, but there's a player in the league right now who is down. I've heard over $1 million to somebody in ping pong from locker room ping pong.
What are we doing?
Also, I had a teammate before too.
That's illegal nowadays, with the new gambling rules. That
it was old guy.
Yeah.
He's
a former player.
Yeah. Former player. Also back in the day too. There's another guy too. He was playing cornhole, and this guy, he just kept beating this guy in cornhole. He said, double it, double it, double it, double it. Finally got to like 60K. A couple days later, he was like, hey man, like it's all fun and games, but like I need my money, you know? And so the guy was like, I don't have money. I don't want to give it. Like my wife's going to kill me. And so he was like, give me your watch. And he gave him his AP, like his $50,000 AP, like off his wrist, just gave it to him.
Yikes.
So gnarly,
shit
dude.
you see in locker rooms in your NFL
Over
career.
cornhole, bro. Cornhole. Like, come on, man.
Brutal.
Dude, we used to drive from Cincinnati to Indy all the time as a 3-hour bus ride, and these guys would play Boo-Ray, and that game would get crazy because you have 3 hours there, and then you'd have 3 hours back.
Right.
And it was like,
I've only played that.
What happened in the back of the bus?
Yeah. I remember, I haven't really played. I don't really remember how to play, but I remember it builds so quickly and it can get
Well, you can get out, right? Like if you're only going to play with $300, like you can like fold and you're out, but the pot can turn to $6,000 too.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember Julius Peppers used to bring like a manila folder on the plane just full of cash.
Yeah.
And it was him and like however many other people. And I sat right behind him on the plane and they just played on the floor. And they'd come up at the end and be like, oh yeah, you owe me 30. I was like, 30 what? 30 grand? And I'm like a rookie making P squad checks at this time. I was like, I don't know if I'm built for this, man.
All right. So we're winding it down here. But we're going to pull up a couple of clips. Okay. It's going to populate on your screen. This is our chance to kind of talk some ball, right? I mean, you do an interview with a regular person and you go try and hit the fade over the top, but like, obviously disclose what you'd like about the play here, not talking into what we do versus certain looks. But in this play right here, this is a week one, really close loss is the one we mentioned earlier, 3rd and 2, less than 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, down 10 to Philly.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and let that play. Talk us through what you saw, what you were thinking, and obviously this is a dot.
Yeah. We were trying to come back in that game. So really in my head, I was trying to kind of score as fast as possible. And you know, you get your X over there to run a go ball so many times a game, but how many times you get them pressed up in press coverage? As soon as we got that, it was go time. Knew it was single high, just held the safety for a count and put it out there. DJ made a great catch. It was really good coverage too.
Yeah, I mean, well, this is the no defense for a perfect throw situation here. Had they been like protection wise, had they been showing different things? Had they been pretty vanilla?
Yeah, they brought 0 on like a 2nd and 8 or 2nd and 10, if I remember correctly, which was kind of unusual. And so there was a few things in that week one. There always is, where there's some stuff you're not really expecting. And but this clip, as soon as you see this here, you kind of know you're good to go, and just hold them and throw it.
Let's talk about that for a sec. So week one, everybody has week one this week, right? You can, even if you're playing a team that the defensive coordinator has been there for 3 years or 8 years or whatever, you still, like, they had an off season too. I'm curious, and Kyle, add in what you think too. But Jerry, how do you approach week one? You can't just watch a bunch of tape like you can in week 10, right? Because especially new coordinator, whatever. Like, how do you approach week one in terms of what they're going to do? And I know it's heavily relied on the tablet on the sideline because you want to see what the hell they're actually doing. But how do you approach that week one?
I think there's a fine line between, watching enough and watching too much, especially for week one. There's just so much time, and you know who you're going to play for so long. And I could sit here and watch the Chiefs for the last 3 months, and would it give me more info? I don't know. Maybe would it cloud me up and make me think too much? Probably more likely. So you try to kind of start that process, as close to the game or as a regular week as you can. There's some excitement that, I've been watching them prior to this week, but you try to, hold off as long as possible. But yeah, they're going to bring a blitz that, we haven't seen, and they're going to have some stuff that we haven't seen and we're going to have to react to. And that's why you have your rules. That's why you practice and you have answers in certain situations for certain looks. But it's that way all across the league. And I'm sure our defense will have something for them as well.
Yeah. Is it more good versus everything plays, right? Like more, whether it's pure progressions or Hank, you know what I mean? So we can almost use this play to then go on the sideline and figure it out. Has that been more of a comfort zone, all the week ones you've played now?
Probably, yeah. I think you want to run your best stuff that's been good through training camp. Maybe some wrinkles that you haven't shown anyone, haven't shown in preseason, but it has been good on the practice field. Your runs are going to be probably your bread and butter. But at the same time, I think one thing that we pride ourselves in, and I know Ben does as well, is being able to adjust in game. So they want to play a certain front. They want to play a certain personnel that maybe we hadn't prepared for. Okay, we've got X amount of plays that we can run versus that guys know from a previous game or previous practice or something that we can just kind of roll out there. So yeah, we feel like we can adjust, but at the same time, yeah, probably to answer your question, you do have a lot of bread and butter stuff and stuff that you're good at.
Cool. So the second clip here is a week 12, 3rd and goal, little under 14 left in the fourth. You guys are down by 5 to Buffalo here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Talk through this concept and the situation.
Yeah, we run this quite a bit. At least we did last year. It's like a little dart return is what we call it, and then an over with like a end line basic. We call it a race route. And yeah, that it looks like 0. I don't know if it ends up being 0, but it sure looks like it. And go through your progression. And DJ came open again across the back end line. Again, made a hell of a catch, kind of behind his eyes there. Was this 4th down, 3rd or 4th down? I think maybe it was.
This is 3rd and goal.
3rd and goal, yeah. So yeah, kind of one we probably had to have. We probably would have gone for it on 4th down, knowing Dan, but yeah, it was a good throw and catch, and was a big game that unfortunately we didn't.
And this is number 3 in the progression, yeah.
Yep, number 3.
How quickly? I mean, that is such a split decision. I mean, you're still getting your fingers on the laces when you're saying yes or no to one, right? So how quickly? Right. And these ones are hard to simulate too, right? The sense of urgency when you get down, these windows get tiny, and you've only really got 11 yards of depth to play with here. And no one's going to be open, right? It's just going to be, is there a space to put the ball?
Right. And you could even say I could throw it to number 2 here, with what it ends up looking like. I moved through it pretty quickly on this one. They had no safety in the middle of the field, so I had a pretty good feeling that end line was going to be open. So I got through it a little quicker than maybe I probably should have. But it worked. But yeah, you have a feeling for space, exactly what you're saying. You don't really know, but whoever that is, I think that's 53, 52 there, AJ Klein. He's kind of in the window for number 2 a little bit, so I kind of felt him and moved on.
Well, it's just interesting, like, because this is max protect, right? But 0 down here, you're going to have a guy free. When you're thinking about that, are you watching guys drop out knowing like, oh, I can get to number 3 here? Or are you just like, I need to get this ball out as soon as possible. Where is somebody? Yeah,
it's a little bit of both. Like I saw a 52 drop out, and at that point I kind of know they're not bringing everybody. And who else dropped? 58. I guess both linebackers drop out. But I also know how fast the concept is, and in general, I should be able to beat whatever they're bringing if I throw it on time. So yeah, there's that urgency, but you have a general feel for if somebody's free rushing or not. And on this one, I didn't feel it.
Last clip here, 3rd and 7, 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. You're up 8 on the Vikings.
Penei
Sewell out in the flat. Talk a little bit as we pull this up. Talk a little bit about Penei.
Penei's awesome, man. We're lucky to have him. He's got all the tools that you could ever want in an O-lineman. He's so damn athletic. I mean, you can see it here.
It's unbelievable.
And like throwing it to him catching it was like never a thought. Like we're like, he's gonna catch it. It's just, will he know what to do once he catches it and be able to get the first down? But yeah, man, he can roll. I mean, he can roll. He's a lot faster than I am, and getting him the ball in space is a good thing for us.
Dude, he looks like a grizzly bear.
The 3rd and 7, like 3rd and 1, sure. 3rd and 2, maybe. 3rd and 3, nah. 3rd and 7,
right? I think we were operating with 4 downs here.
Yeah,
we had a little package of plays. I think Ben and I talked about it on like Monday, or he brought it up. He's like, I want to find a way to throw Penei the ball. And I'm like, okay, well, kind of crazy, but it sounds good. He's like, I think he can do it. And so we had this package where we had a jumbo tight end in there. I think we had 7 O-linemen in on this, or 6 O-linemen. And it was a sequence of plays. So as soon as we ran this personnel on the field, these 3 plays were happening in order. And it was like a power, a wide zone, and then this play. And so when we brought him on the field, we kind of all know what it's culminating to, and the excitement starts to build, and we know it's okay, now it's 2 plays away, now it's 1 play away, and sure enough, it looks like that. And my favorite part of the clip might be Kevin O'Connell, who I love.
Yes, I saw that, bro.
Yelling at the ref to get a timeout off here.
Well, the best part about this clip is Penei stays in bounds too.
He does, and that was the whole conversation. The huddle was like, all right, Penei, you're going to catch it, you're going to get the first down, you're going to go down. And he did all of that, man, pretty eloquently for a big guy.
Yeah, bouncing off the ground.
That's awesome. You probably thrown one to Big Wit though, right? Does Big Wit have any catches from Jared Goff?
No, we didn't run any trick plays there. We didn't really do much of that. I'm trying to think if I ever threw it to an lineman there. I don't think so. But I know he had a touchdown in Cincinnati, at least one.
Yeah, it's funny. You guys know Big Wit as like the old vet in the room. Right. He was third wheel with Dottie and I in Cincy.
No way.
Yeah. Before he got married and all that stuff. So I know the left guard young guy, Big Wit with a little bit of hair.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
All right, the last one's not a cut up in all 22. Let's pull this up. This is more or less. I'm just curious here. This is off what looks like TikTok. We got some no looks coming this year. Like, how'd it go?
I won't do any eyes closed this year. We may do a couple no looks, but the closing the eyes. I was throwing with Amon-Ra that day, and I was joking. I was like, I really feel like I can throw it to him with my eyes closed, just with how our chemistry has gotten. And I'm like, you know what? Just film this. I want to see if I can do it. And that was the first rep of it. And we hit it, and I'm like, all right, I'm not going to post it, but Saint, you can post it. And he ended up posting it. But yeah, it's pretty funny. I thought the comments on it were freaking hilarious. It was really funny. Like, some of the people were like, "Oh, that must have been what he did in the Super Bowl," like,
yeah.
And I actually thought it was pretty funny. But it was good. It went a little viral there for a minute, and but I don't plan on closing my eyes too often this year.
Hey, let's talk about Amon-Ra for a second. Just I've been around him since he was in 7th grade. So he was JT Daniels. You know that name?
Oh yeah.
He was JT's wideout. And so JT's dad had hit me up as a 7th grader. I was still playing at the time. But, hey, we work with my son, blah, blah, blah. He's the best thing ever in 7th grade. And shit, he was. But he brought little Amon-Ra with him.
Right.
And so I've been around Amon-Ra since he was little. And, I mean, you know what I do for a living. So come draft time, I'm talking to a lot of general managers and front office personnel about what I think and all that stuff. And out of anybody that I've said good things about to GMs,
he's proved you right.
I've got more juice off what I told GMs that Amon-Ra was going to be, and then and Detroit was a team that I didn't talk to, right? But there's some GMs, if I called them out right now, they like, boy, could they use a number 1 receiver playing 1 or 2, making what on a rookie 4th round contract. Cause this dude, what he is exactly what I thought he would be. Now you need a great quarterback to show it, but just talk a little bit about, and everyone can run fast and catch balls. They can all do that, right? This dude, I would not fuck with Amon-Ra St. Brown. I wouldn't, man. This is a bad dude.
That's, I guess, what I would say right off the bat is you could take everything physical off the table and just go straight into his work ethic and his football IQ and his want to win and his will and that, all that is what makes him great. Obviously, he's talented, he's fast, he's strong, he can catch, he can run great routes, he does all that great, but I think his just natural competitiveness and work ethic and internal drive, kind of like what I was talking about earlier, just is off the charts and what makes him so great.
It's awesome, man. I'm so pumped for him and hope he gets a massive, massive payday. Kyle's been best friends with Christian Kirk forever. Similar body type, similar body of work and all that stuff. It's like, hopefully Amon-Ra gets one of those kinds of deals. But
I'm sure he will.
We're going to wrap this up with a 2-minute drill, man. What we're going to do here is we're going to throw a 2-minute timer up on the screen. And this is our favorite part of the show. We're just 2 minutes, man. What you can start this your QB journey wherever you want. Middle school, Pop Warner, high school, whatever. But just the highs and lows of your career. Known you since you were a kid. It's been so fun watching you. And even if I miss stuff, I get a text from Yogi Roth. You know what I mean? Did you see JG? So just one way or another, been following it from day one. Pumped to hear your 2 minutes. We'll be on mute. It's all you.
Sure.
And,
all right.
Start it wherever you want to start it.
Shoot. Okay. So I started playing football when I was 8 years old, and the first position I ever played was quarterback, and I've been playing quarterbacks ever since then. Went through, elementary school, middle school, high school, went to Marine Catholic High School, played quarterback there, got an offer from Cal, played quarterback there for 3 years. Had a bad year my freshman year. We were 1-11. We got a little bit better. The second year we went 5-7, and then the last year we went 8-5. Finished with a bowl win. Played pretty well towards the end there, and was able to leave for the NFL draft after that. Let me take a breath. Then I get drafted by the Rams. I was the number 1 pick and had 5 years there. You had the Super Bowl year in 2018. A lot of fun there. And then, things just didn't go how you kind of draw it up for the next couple of years. And ultimately was traded to the Lions. I've been there for the last 3 years. I think though that scenario with the trade has allowed me to have a great perspective on things and allowed me to grow up and understand what's important and become a better player, become a better leader, a better quarterback, look internally sometimes, see what you can do better. All that stuff as that adversity has allowed me to do that. And I think this last year being able to play well and have our team have, a little bit of success that we did have has made that, kind of experience that, that was hard, really hard, make it worthwhile. And kind of coming out the other side right now with, a lot to look forward to this year and a good year ahead. So, yeah, I think you're able to, hopefully gain some respect from some guys for going through something that everyone knows is hard, and you come out the other side of it, looking okay and able to, again, look forward to this year and have a fun year. But yeah, I hope though that quarterback isn't defining me and that I can be much more than that, I guess is how I'll finish it off.
Yeah, man. And you're engaged. You guys getting married? You guys have a date yet, or?
Yeah. Next June.
Next June. Same with Kyle. Building a family, building an amazing career, man. Just so proud of you. So pumped for you, man. We didn't really talk much about the Lions' upcoming season, but I've never seen the discrepancy between the NFC and the AFC the way that it is this year. And so you guys got to be excited and opportunistic about what you guys have built and are building, but also what the opportunity is in front of you. It looks a little different on the AFC if you just look at the quarterback names. I think you guys are not, I think the NFL community is poised and ready to see Detroit turn this thing around and win and go further and go potentially all the way, man. So I'm just so pumped to watch what this season has in store for you, man. Big one of your day ones, man, for sure.
Thank you, dude. Thanks for having me. This was fun. I appreciate it. This was a lot of fun.